Alright, last session, all of you, became victims of yet another crisis of sorts. One that didn't seem to have a particular answer, as a bomb or something of the sort went off in the civilian governmental quarter of the station. Having no clear understanding of motive or any perpetrator that seemed to make sense. You did a little bit of investigation. The investigation and the evidence that you did dig up was pretty incriminating to Representative Pride, who was at the behest and order of the Vice President of the United Federation of Planets, was to be detained, returned to Earth to stand trial for treason, and also to show face to the Inheritors, which were likely behind the attack, to not show any form of weakness. However, on the way back, the ship that was delivering the representative suffered a catastrophic warp core failure, which has been, at this point, classified as a freak accident of sorts. Keeping up appearances, the information and speculation of what is to be considered the public knowledge for the people, the story will stick. That being said, the most notable change aside from that is that your station Admiralty is changing. Admiral Dax has been assigned as a temporary overseer out at the Shackleton Expanse at Nurinder Station, overseeing a refit to the USS Ross. Which variation that is, who knows? However, taking her place is Vice Admiral Christine Vale, who is also the commanding officer aboard the USS Titan, a Titan-class vessel, which is the successor to the Luna-class. However, Christine Vale is en route. You have roughly about an hour before the Titan makes station, so if there's anything you would like to do during this time.
I have something I would like to do.
Okay.
Aleska will be going to visit the Bajoran temple.
Okay. The temple itself is located in the Habitat Ring, which is very close to our modern-day Glacier National Park. A large, kind of mostly organic, though it is kept very well, kind of biodome that gives this sense of the outdoors, being on a planet without actually being. Temple itself is not as large as a typical one, just to match with the station. However, there are a few people that are operating there, and they do take notice when you do arrive.
Do we have a Vedic, or would it be a lesser rank priest?
Lesser rank, just because this is a distant station, but yeah, lesser rank.
Let me look something up. Because I'm trying to find what the ranks are. But we can find that out later. But she will go to try and find one of the priests that's not busy, and describe to them the vision she had and of the malevolent orb in the vision.
Okay. Going through all of that, kind of explaining a little bit about that, the first bit of information you will get is, again, something you kind of figured. It's very similar, though, like, hauntingly, almost, like, parallel in being similar, but it's just a little off. But as the, let me look really quick, I think I found it. I did not find it, never mind. Whatever. However, they... Explaining it further, they... kind of... The, gentleman who is walking you through this, and as you were walking them through it... kind of goes through another round of, like, clarifications. Okay, so... why don't you walk me through this again? A vision appeared to you, and a orb similar to ours was in your vision.
Indeed, and forgive me if this is impertinent or may be considered heretical by your faith, Your Grace, but if the Power Wraiths are prophets that have been exiled from your celestial temple, and the prophets have orbs, is it possible for the Power Wraiths to have orbs as well?
That is an interesting theory. We have not encountered such a thing out here, or really anything, but if that is the case, there is no reason to assume that that wouldn't be a possibility.
And if I am not mistaken, the Power Wraiths hate all Bajorans, so it would make sense that they would not show the orbs, their orbs at least, to Bajorans.
No, it would have to be an individual that has ill will towards, well, my people and any people of like-mindedness.
Which is why I'm confused as to why I received such a vision. I certainly have no ill will toward Bajorans. It is all very confusing.
It could be a number of things. You might not have ill will, per se, but you might have come into close proximity with someone who has a tremendous amount of negative spiritualism.
And Aleska will groan and say, I was in contact with Gold Cut once, a very long time ago.
That itself is a possibility, but that is an old wound, and likely not one that is to open, seeing as that one was dealt with in its own way.
Very true.
So, is there anything in current recollection that you could think of that you may have been in close proximity with that could have triggered such a reaction?
Not that I can think of. We did have one incident aboard the Ross. However, that incident is heavily classified, so I couldn't discuss it with you.
I am simply here to act as a guide at this current juncture. Your scientific exploits are not exactly my background of expertise.
There's only one thing I could think of. I did have one vision a very long time ago, but it was with deities from my planet, not from yours.
Well, then let's operate on the assumption that they are at the very least parallel.
Parallel, yes, but... Well, for one thing, some of these deities, I would prefer to trust your prophets over them. Let's just say that.
Well, that is... If that is the case, then... I do not believe I know how to help you further. And the answers you seek are clearly not here. Though, hopefully, what has been discussed may help you in the future.
I hope so. And if this is a power wraith orb, then it would perhaps be best for us to try and find this orb before anyone else. Because we've seen with, as I mentioned with Gold Ducat, what happens when some people get into contact with power wraiths.
Yes, that is a worry and something we should consider. However, I think your experience, though it sounds similar, it feels ever so slightly off the mark.
I believe I've read in Captain Sisko's reports that the elastical positions in Bajoran faith have a container for orbs.
Other than your vision or dream, did it have a container of any kind?
Did it? Or was it just...
It did not. It was pretty much out in the open.
It did not. It was basically floating out in the open. If I could be so bold as to request some of the specifications for that containment vessel, if we do find that orb, such a containment vessel would probably be required.
Well, I will talk to someone who is of a higher authority than myself to get that permission, but keep in mind it will work if it is what you suspect it to be. If it isn't, there's no telling.
Well, at least we will have a plan to deal with it. Because I doubt that we would be able to destroy it if it is similar to an orb.
That's true. Well, that being said, I don't know how to help you further.
But thank you for your assistance. And you are a busy man, so I will no longer take up your valuable time.
Your visit is appreciated, and though my duties keep me occupied, should you have any more questions of a less sinister nature, I'd be happy to answer.
And I would be happy to hear those. And Aleska will give a bow and leave the temple.
Okay. What are the rest of you doing?
Captain's waiting in his ready room for when the new Admiral arrives, so that way he can go and say hi.
Okay.
Remind me, do we even know the name of this new Admiral? Because
Vice Admiral Christine Vance.
I thought you said Vale.
Yeah.
Oh, Vale,
Yeah, you said Vale, yeah.
My bad. Yeah.
Do they have like a reputation or
They do.
anything? Or really?
They have a very hefty and long record. They are incredibly from the start they were a very decorated officer with an impressive cadet history, followed by helming the lack of they were helming aboard the USS Titan alongside Captain William Riker. They assisted in stabilizing Romulus a bit further prior to its destruction. At which point, after Riker was promoted to Admiral, and eventually did leave the Titan, she took command as its captain for a hefty duration of time. After a point, the USS Titan was destroyed in a ion storm incident that caused just massive casualties and loss. However, the damage and the casualties were still reduced to her leadership, as well as being given the Titan-class vessel that was named of the same vessel, which would hold USS Titan-A, effectively.
Alright. So... they're sending someone who they think is going to whip us into shape, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good luck with that. I'm gonna say good luck with that one.
I'm off gossiping with the Tholians.
You know what? Your progress, like, slow as it will be, your time frame has tolerated that, like, has gotten them to tolerate you even further. They will honestly entertain your conversations now until they are too busy.
More than fine. In that case, I do have a question that I've been meaning to ask. I may have actually asked it before, but if I did, I forgot the answer. I'm very sorry.
Which is?
How do the Tholians feel about everything that's been happening? Like, are they judging us? Are they, how do they feel about the missing ships, the, blackouts, just everything?
Well, in
as much as they are aware of.
Tholian commander's words, the leadership of the United Federation of Planets is something left to be desired, is effectively what is said. In a much more blunt and rude tone, as Tholians do. But, yeah. They are not impressed with your performance as far as everything is going.
City will tell them that they agree.
Okay. Anything in particular that Lance Corporal West is doing, then?
I'm probably just off on my patrols.
Okay.
Trying to keep my head down.
Alright. About an hour passes before you get a notification by one of the, just operational chiefs for you, Captain Phillips, before they, just put on the overhead into your retinue. Captain, the USS Titan has dropped out of warp and is requesting, docking procedures.
Tell him... Which dock is open right now?
A lot of them are open because a lot of your ships are missing.
Oh, yeah, that. Tell them to proceed to the nearest dock and use that one. Maybe, I don't know, Dock 7.
Dock 7? Oh, okay. They give a chime and a notification. It is roughly maybe another 20 minutes or so before you get a chime at your ready room door.
Well, this is it. I say it to myself, and I say, enter.
Okay. Stepping in is a woman who has not totally on the shorter side, but definitely with a woman of her authority, you would have expected someone just maybe slightly taller, maybe by a couple inches at least. Her hair is cut in sort of a short style, blonde with flecks of gray hitting in off to the side. Very intense, like light blue eyes, the Admiralty uniform, the bars that hold the 3 pips within, they do not possess the standard gold bars, rather they possess the border being gold with the interior being silver. The comm badge itself is of a brighter color, holding those more distinctive, the delta being this extremely bright silver, as well as the rest of it being an intense gold. She is alone when she enters, but looks around at the ready room before taking note of you.
And of course, I'm setting up at this point.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as she walked in, I'm setting up.
Captain?
Vice Admiral, welcome to Horizon Station.
Rundown. What's your progress on the inheritor problem and investigations into any suspicious activity that has occurred on the station?
Right now, we're looking into the Heritors and their actions and trying to locate their main base. And so far, we haven't got any leads. We
That
are
is not
halfway
a great
looking
way
in.
to start, Captain. You and I are already off to a bad relationship.
Well, Vice Admiral, to be blunt, we just had an attack. So my mind's been focused on that than the Heritors right now. As
Both
soon as
are
the situation.
connected.
Well, that's the first
Both
time.
are connected.
Of course, I assume both is connected. If we investigate this, will lead us into the Inheritors and maybe tracking down some of their members.
Interesting.
And we can use their members to get the head honchos and bring them in.
Do you have a plan for that, Captain?
Right now, we're working on that.
Run me through your plan.
My plan is this: we tracked down. We used to. Maybe there was a bomb. Of course there was a bomb. We used the signature. Tracked down to the manufacturer who made said bomb. We use that. We interrogate that person who will give us members. We use the members to get the head honchos. We'll bring them all in. And they will face Starfleet justice. And maybe at the same time get half our ships back. Because as you noticed when you came in, half my ships are gone.
Oh, I know, Captain. I read the reports.
So basically, this will all lead up to the point where we get our ships back and we bring the perpetrators in and the head honcho. Because what they did, they basically just called out Starfleet to war. And they won't like us when we go to war.
Captain, lest you forget, a war is the last thing that either of us wants.
I
United
know.
Federation, Civil, or Starfleet.
Well, tell that to them. They starting something that they don't want to. That they don't want to finish. So we're going to finish it.
We will not be doing anything of the like. We will take a cautious approach.
Vice Admiral, for however we spent the last time we took a cautious approach, people got sick with the phage, lost half our ships, and the civilian section of my station got blown up. So
Okay, you're
cautious is pretty much
command.
going to let me finish. All the cautiousness is gone out the window. So right now, my cautious exterior is now pretty much almost gone because of what they did on my station under my command, under my watch. So I'm taking a very vested interest in how this is going to play out. And if I have to bring them in and then face Starfleet justice, then so be it. I would personally lead that charge.
Captain, I want to meet your senior staff and anyone who you feel is worth being read in on the loop of anything station ops or otherwise. Have them in the conference room in an hour. I do not appreciate tardies. I don't appreciate excuses.
Yes, ma'am. I'll have them there for an hour. So at this point, I will tap my comm badge and say, "Senior staff to the conference room in an hour," and then also, and as Corporal West, report to the conference room within an hour. And I said that all in front of her, so she knows exactly who I'm bringing in.
Without tapping the comm badge, I hear the addendum and I go, "Wait, what? I'm not senior staff."
You have to have your one, huh?
I guarantee you are today.
Gotta have the one. Okay. Is there anything that any of you want to do before this hour ticks in?
Has Aleska gotten a response back from Admiral Janeway about the file she requested access to?
Yeah. A cautious, a rather cautious letter. It's not really it's not really permission of access. It's more of as much as she wants to give you access, there are still people that can dissuade such actions. Those of higher rank and higher understanding. But she gets you like a tiny bit, which isn't very helpful. It's kind of a lot of what you kind of already assumed.
And Aleska will look at that and go, "Well, looks like I'm going to have to hack this myself." And she's doing all this in her office.
Okay.
She brings up that file again, and I assume it still brings up the request for a security code and stuff like that, right?
Yes. Remind me again, what are the specifics of the file that you're trying to access here?
She was trying to look into the backtrack. She's basically doing a Daniel Jackson on the Inheritors and if any group that is similar back to the eugenics wars kind of deal.
Okay. So, doing this, I hope you understand the risks of this, because this is a big no-no, given your rank. But we will make this a... God, what would this be here? Hold on.
Oh, and by the way, who is the highest ranking Starfleet Admiral that Aleska would have personally come into contact and know?
Not. Let me think really quick. I have to remember. It would be. Admiral-wise... Probably not an Admiral. You probably wouldn't have, like, personally, encountered anyone who is, like, directly an Admiral, just because... given your rank at the time, wasn't a common affair for you. However, you may have had run-ins who would have been a captain at the time, which these days she has attained the rank of Commodore, which would be probably Commodore Naomi Wildman.
Naomi. I hope she'll forgive me for this, and she's going to try and access the file.
Okay, so this
using
is...
using a little trick that Gary Seven taught her.
This would be... So this is definitely daring security, because this is really stupid. And the difficulty is going to be 4. And I am going to spend 4 points of threat.
So I have so daring security, that'll make it 15. And I am would the value, not everything is as it seems, apply here?
Yes, it would.
And I would like to buy an extra die with one of the 3 momentum we've got.
Alright, everyone's good with that.
And would my focus in espionage count here?
In many instances, no, but in this case, yes.
So remind me what that would do for me by using a focus. Anything under a 10 is a crit, I think?
No. Anything that is your discipline or lower will be a crit. So the security portion, if it's 5 or lower, it'll consider itself a crit.
Okay, so I already have 2 successes from using one of my values.
Yep.
So rolling. Oh, whoa. Okay, I'm gonna take a picture of this so that you guys can see what this is.
Sounds good.
A 1, a 2, and a 5.
Holy shit. Okay, so that's... So you have the
That's
2
pretty damn
successes, then another crit, so 4 crits, so 2. Holy shit, no, that's a whole bunch of crits, Jesus. 6, 8.
Well, if I wanted to have a success, this would be how I would do it.
Okay. I should spend more threat. Anyways. Okay, so 1's gone, so it was 2, and then 3. So you guys are at 8 momentum now?
Okay, so when the file comes up and it asks for authorization, Aleska begins rubbing the back of her throat in a manner that Gary 7 taught her. And when she speaks again, it's not Aleska's voice, it's Naomi Wildman's voice.
Okay.
With her authorization.
Alright, doing so, there is a slight stutter because technology is fairly advanced now, so it does catch, like, just a slight delay, like, where it was, like, questioning whether it was going to go through or not. But then the computer has essentially determined, like, oh, maybe she's got a cold. The files that come up are absurd. Tracking back, at least, 6 captains from the Federation side, have at least a lineage going back to that time. Couple of the other vessels of different governments, it's really not easy to tell, just because you're not read into that. However, what does come up that strikes up very interestingly is a particular person aboard the station has a history that who studied very intently the eugenics wars and everything of the like, and did in fact serve in Starfleet as a lieutenant for about 5 years before retiring and going into a more political spectrum.
It's the Vice President, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Aleska will see all these files and begin a copy to a very particular data pad to where only she will have access to it, and she will have like a particular security code and everything to lock it down. And then once those files are copied, she will delete and basically delete the interaction from the computer requesting access to those files was deleted.
Okay.
So no trace. And she would be familiar with this because of a certain intelligence officer she knows.
I am well aware of this intelligence officer. Don't worry. But yeah, what about Neshek? Is there anything that you were doing before this meeting here?
Aside from unknowingly relishing the satisfaction of being totally justified in not trusting the Vice President, I remember because last time Neshek was reviewing the security footage from immediately prior to the bombing, trying to determine the exact nature of the footage regarding civilian lies on Pride and the bomb itself. Yeah. If I recall correctly, that was inconclusive. Yes, so then Neshek would have
something about it just felt like it definitely was what it seemed to be, but something about it
still seemed off.
Yeah.
Then I remember the other thing would be to try to pick out anybody else in that footage, like from the entire day before, who seemed to be... If somebody seemed to be, like, popped up in the vicinity of the bomb detonation multiple times in the day before, like, prior to the bombing, I would pay attention, because in the case that they were casing the joint or looking for something, watching, waiting for something, etc. The other thing Neshek would like to be keeping track of is the status of that weird fragment that we got Lieutenant Corporal West to pull out of the wall. I think we referred that over to the science team.
Oh, it didn't immediately get vanished?
It actually...
It should have been referred over to the science team. If it's been immediately vanished, I'd like to know about it.
No, it is over at the science team. No, he said Lance. But the
I think I did say Lieutenant.
Oh, okay, never mind. Maybe it's my ears that don't work. But anyways, yeah, the science team does have it, and one thing that they've done is a particular portion of the station for this science team, they have put it in one of the spare labs, effectively to use it as a place to observe it. However, this lab is located within a citation ops, henceforth to dull any explosion that may occur. But it is there, and it is being carefully monitored.
Gotcha. The science team doesn't have anything to report at the moment. Figure out the footage. I remember the bugging the ship that had Pride on it that then got destroyed or mysteriously exploded.
Yep.
That does have me on edge, but I don't know what Neshek would do about it aside from just paying extra attention. She wouldn't even be paying extra attention to the sensors outside station, though, because clearly the threat's inside. Let's review the code on the reactor again. Let's have that what we're doing.
Okay. Reviewing the code on the reactor. You could do an insight engineering. You've had time, so this is only a difficulty of 2.
Insight engineering difficulty 2. I've got computer expertise and technical expertise. Does constantly watching apply here? Difficulty -1 for task to detect danger or hidden enemy?
Yes, in this case, yes.
Okay. Does a pattern recognition focus apply here?
Not for the warp core issue, no.
Okay. Then that is a difficulty 1 insight engineering. Let's see. Wow, that was actually a really kind of crap roll for something I'm supposed to be good at, but it worked. So yeah, just reviewing the code on the reactor, and then since I have incisive scrutiny, since I succeeded with control or insight, I can use bonus momentum to obtain information.
Okay. Well, the reactor's catastrophic failure. Looking through just the last bit of like log sent before ship went kaboom. There is no hint or lead up to a catastrophic failure. There's no missed checks or anything of the like. Whatever happened aboard there was done manually and done intentionally.
So in their black box data, basically everything's nominal and then explosion.
Yeah, and that's enough for you to gauge like, okay, there wasn't an accident. This was clearly intentional.
With my incisive scrutiny, because it's not represented in the black box data, can I use obtained information to potentially conclude that this was basically an act of physical sabotage, as in somebody just literally put, a block of C4 on the reactor?
It
Or something to that effect?
It would have had to have been similar to that, though maybe not as direct. A ship of the size that it was still has a decent amount of eyes going around, so it would have been mainly a bomb of sorts, but more of like a simple entry code or something, like an authorization code for an emergency override of that variety. During a crisis or something, when a ship's captain and its senior staff are not able to do so. However,
So
given
not
the authorization level that you may be able to pull, had to be a lieutenant to lieutenant commander aboard the ship.
So was not the same code vulnerability that we're used to, but rather somebody basically manually overrided and triggered a self-destruct or something of some kind. And it had to have been someone high up.
Yeah, given the information you've been given with this, it literally, if they had any of the technical expertise for this, it literally could have been done in pretty much anywhere on that ship.
Then I'm gonna start pulling everyone on that ship who's a lieutenant. You said lieutenant commander or above?
Lieutenant commander or lower, probably, would be likely. Above seems a little too high, and that would honestly be too easy to narrow out, and given your recent luck, you would probably assume that lower is probably less suspicious when it comes to doing operations like this.
Okay, that's gonna be way too many people for me to go through at any type of speed. But I can at least start with the people who work in engineering. So we'll be checking any of them for, I don't know, suspicious. Oh, I could check their mailboxes, because I know I bugged the captain's mailbox to get the message they received from the vice president, but if I can still access the messages received by the others, I might find something there. I doubt they'll be using a public mailbox or anything, but still, it might give me a hint.
Alright, I'll have the momentum for it, so I'm just gonna kind of give you this stuff.
Yeah, if I can spend 2 to create an advantage if that's how there's a transfer here.
Yeah.
Or I guess obtain information will work too.
Yeah, we'll do that. Doing that, it's a little difficult. However, there is a particular subspace transmissions that seem to be of a text file only situation. They do seem to be encrypted, and they're smart about it because it seems like it's going through not the ship's computer, but like a personalized datapad or communicator of some kind. But you are able to kind of isolate where that is, and even though it's technically not through like the ship's computer, it still has to go through it, kind of.
Their encryption was too complicated for somebody's personal computer.
Yeah, well, programming be like that. But the but yeah, looking at the start date for it. This goes way back. These, orders came 2-3 months ago.
Do I only have the date right now? I don't have the full content of the orders. For these orders, do I only have the date and not the full content yet? Because I'm not finished decrypting.
Yeah, you're not finished decrypting. You can start the program to start running the decryption program, but it's not going to be quite there yet.
Sure, I'll do that. 2-3 months ago, okay. That would be interesting. Because, well, I'll have to wait to decrypt and get more information, but that's really kind of weird.
Right, well, that program is running through. The hour is eventually up. You are all within the conference room to Horizon Station's what used to be called Alpha Ops has kind of become the primary ops, so that's kind of what's being referred to now. Christine Vale is looking at each and every one of you, taking your measure, a little confused at the Starfleet Marine that's here, but doesn't seem to bat much of an eye to it, and kind of just accepts that this is how things have been lately.
I trust Lance Corporal West. He's been part of Alpha Ops for a while now, so yeah, he's included.
God damn it, Seth!
I mean, not wrong. It's not wrong.
Oh my God.
Lance Corporal West is the foundation of this Alpha Ops.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Rather
We're
than
all
this,
doomed. You are all doomed.
Alright, but Christine Vale kind of looks towards you, Captain. Looking around at this senior staff, it is definitely it's inquisitive and questioning, and not in a very good way. The senior staff in which Horizon Station has for its primary ops, she clearly is not heavily impressed. So this is your senior staff, Captain?
Yes, it is, President.
Well, now that the senior staff is here, rather than give your orders privately, I will actually have the rather courteous hand of telling you all directly. Given recent events, and I've been read in on certain situations involving a particular warp core breach, which I believe to be utter fucking bullshit, so I will not even begin investigating a warp core breach, but rather any sort of issues that may have come up that made that responsible. Timing itself is suspicious enough. So, I've heard the captain's rather dangerous approach to things, so what is everyone else's likely approach?
These things take time. If you're any at all familiar with intelligence work, and Aleska raises an eyebrow at the Admiral, then you know that it will take very, very skilled intelligence work to ferret out this inheritor problem.
I'm not a stranger to intelligence work. Commander. In fact, I'm very familiar with it. That being said, I asked this question earlier with a response that was charged more by emotion rather than reason. So, your civilian explosion in that corridor. Thoughts? Investigations?
We are pursuing several lines of inquiry. I am following one based on intelligence. I believe Commander Neshek is following one based on security footage. And she will nod to Neshek to take the floor.
Yes, I'm not aware if you've had a chance to peruse the initial reports, especially regarding the warp core explosion. But the initial security footage suggested the bombing was conducted by the civilian liaison on the station as part of the initial, what's the term for it? Custody taking? Suspect taking? I am not quite sure. As far as one of the initial steps, the liaison was taken aboard the ship whose name I'm forgetting at this crucial juncture.
It's fine. We can skip over that.
Okay. I will relay what I found from the security footage then. Namely about how it implicated Liaison Pride, but I personally had my suspicions that the footage had been doctored. My analysis was inconclusive. I could not figure out exactly precisely why, but there is a preponderance of other evidence showing that Pride did not plant the bomb. I guess I would actually mention, because she already brought up the warp core explosion, I would mention what I had found. Again, just to confirm that this was not an accident, this was an intentional act of sabotage. And that those orders are in the process of being decrypted. I'm not going to mention that I bugged a communication from the Vice President.
Alright. Seems that this station requires a touch-up of sorts. In both the physical and metaphorical sense. Given that the explosion happened in the civilian governmental quarter, would have the ambassadors, vice president, any one of the like suggested or have said that could be of help to your inheritor investigation that seems to supposedly be ongoing.
It is indeed, and I've already discovered several lines to investigate, but considering the sensitive nature of this topic, I would like further time to more thoroughly investigate these lines before making them available to you, Admiral.
I will give you exactly 12 hours to come up with a thorough line of investigation, otherwise I want you to share what you have found regardless. I don't particularly care for being left in the dark, especially by my own senior staff. That being said, I will at least give you the freedom to peruse around through where you may believe to be a lead.
Thank you, Admiral.
The minute you find something, bring it to my attention.
I will indeed.
Doctor, any of your thoughts on the current situation? Anything medically insightful?
As far as the recent investigation has gone, there is nothing that a medical insight could really input. The injuries from the bombing weren't inconsistent with a regular bombing attack, right? I feel like that would have been mentioned when Apricity had them brought in.
They weren't inconsistent, they were just different.
How so?
The burn marks were just a tiny bit off. Kind of like a slight... It was definitely a burn, but like a slight acid burn.
Okay. Then Apricity would actually mention that first, but then would continue with, there isn't much that's been medically relevant so far in this investigation, especially considering we haven't been able to recover anything from the actual incident in question.
And given that the official story of the United Federation of Planets is out in the public, which I assume the civilian quarter just went and approved ahead without any further chance of investigation.
Pretty much. We're still investigating it anyway, right? The official statement? Because it all sounds a little too convenient, if you ask me.
Finally, an insightful statement. Well then, I think it's worth investigating any sort of incident that has led up to that point. Particularly why so it was given, from what I'm hearing from this briefing, Representative Pride was not the perpetrator, and was rather made to look like it.
Neshek brought that up during the whole phone call with, well, not with the one with all the ambassadors, when it was just to Captain, myself, and the Vice President. Basically, it's explicitly to shatter the trust that the non-Federation species have in the Federation, because it put us in an impossible bind. It was either one, Pride is guilty, therefore it just illustrates the fact that the Inheritors have people in a very high level positions in Federation, so the non-Federation people can't trust us because the Inheritors are very anti-non-Federation. Alternatively, even if Pride isn't guilty, the fact that we weren't taking action fast enough, and the fact that we did have that, smoking gun, even if it's a fake gun and not really smoke, it just makes the Federation look like we're covering for her, which also makes us really look bad. Neshek will mention that, given being like, no, we have a pretty good theory as to why Pride was set up.
Okay.
Because for whatever reason, the Inheritors have a strong interest in the Horizon Station. Presumably because of this Borg threat that they are at least nominally concerned with.
I have a question, but it's more out of character because I am a goldfish. Is there any explicit confirmation yet that the individuals involved with the phage and the Inheritors are the same group? Or is it all just implied?
it's all implied right now. There's a lot of just cloak and dagger going around, and it's you with your particular consciousness can think of things at a impressively disturbing rate. For most people, it's just confusion, and that's all it is. For you, it's confusing because it's meant to be confusing. It's a lot of information that is meant to be speculative.
Okay, if it's not like completely confirmed, then Apricity will like just say that this is potentially baseless. This is potentially baseless speculation on my part, so I apologize. But if it's also possible that they are, not to sound like egotistical or anything, but
I've already dealt with that today. Please continue.
With the Borg thing, it's possible that they're potentially worried about artificial intelligence in general. They were definitely taking active measures to conceal their involvement from me in particular during the Phaeton incident.
And also just the fact they like to delete their medical records for the power shortages.
Oh, yeah, also that. Thank you, Apricity would also include that. Just leading into maybe they particularly have like an anti-AI or anti-technology bias involved in their whatever ideology is like involved in this group.
And they also took the control over Beowulf.
Also, yeah, which is weird because we had to do a whole time-traveling adventure to get them away from an AI.
Could be where it came from. Or could have at least fed into it if it's not where it came from, because time travel.
Alright. So, what I've heard here has been nothing short of mostly helpful and somewhat also not. So, you, in the back corner, who's standing so very quietly and somewhat at attention here, despite rank or whatever, it doesn't matter in this case, because I need to hear from someone else. What are your thoughts on this whole situation going forward? That is to you, Lance Corporal West.
I do not have enough information to form a accurate opinion, ma'am.
That's an answer I like hearing. Well then. You all look into the inheritor problems. Have none of you considered looking into it from a more openly internal issue? The governmental sects themselves, the sections, whether it be the Klingon Empire, the Romulan Senate.
I do not believe this would be the Romulans. Although the Tarshir are dubious at best, this doesn't strike me as their style.
It most certainly does not.
And we can count out the Cardassians because the Obsidian Order is no longer a thing.
We also have a fairly decent Cardassian presence on this station.
We do indeed. And let us not forget I will speak of that in private with you, Admiral, but because the Lance Corporal does not have authority to hear what I was going to say.
You know what game I absolutely hated as a child?
Was it guessing games, ma'am?
Yes. That's hide and seek, anything of the like. I don't exactly like playing cat and mouse. It is truly irritating and wholly, in most cases, unfruitful.
Then be glad you never had a career in intelligence, Admiral.
Do you see these bars? I had that misfortune.
As have I. I've sent more than a few agents on missions myself.
Also, I'm aware.
And she raises an eyebrow at that statement towards the Admiral.
Unlike your previous overseer, I make it my business to know the station better than most who operate it.
I do not think that you will find that difficult, ma'am.
Well then.
Vice Admiral, before
You're cutting out a little bit here.
And you're very distant.
Vice Admiral,
You sound distant still.
how about now?
There we go, yeah.
Vice Admiral, before we end this meeting, I do want to...
What is happening? You're distant again.
I'm not distant.
Are you connected to something different?
No,
Oh, well now it sounds fine. What's going on here?
I don't know. But
Okay.
anyway, like I was saying, Vice Admiral, before we end this impromptu meeting, I do want to bring something across your table that my senior staff already knows.
Captain, before we do that, should we raise the privacy field?
Yes, please.
Privacy field is enabled.
This would definitely be a tie-in to the Inheritors and what's going on in the station. The Vice President the Vice President herself, who's on the station at this moment, runs Section 31, and is the one who told me to put Pride on the ship. That went poof.
There
And
are
I
a
have
number
proof
of
of that.
questions I have for that, but do continue. I'll get to my questions in a moment.
And I do have the proof of that. She gave me she gave me a Section 31 com badge. It is in my office right now.
Well, once this is over, this impromptu meeting, as you called it, Captain, once this is over, I'm going to need you to retrieve that for me. In addition to that, I do have a follow-up question, why this wasn't brought up almost immediately.
Because the Vice President ordered it.
Yep. If she ordered it, I can't go against her orders. That's my commission if I do.
Do you have any suspicions of the Vice President?
Above
didn't think
board,
before she'd say something now.
above board, is there a way that I can retrieve just the vice president's file from that huge data dump that I got?
Yeah, as long as it's on like an accessible pad, you can like separate them.
Yeah, I have that pad on me, and I place it on the table, and I say my security code to unlock it, and then just bring up the vice president's file on the holographic screen.
You don't even get to like, you almost don't get to finish like your security code before it's in her hand and she's looking over it.
Is now a bad time to bring up how she was really fucking weird about my second?
This is the perfect time to bring it up. Since we pretty much have her on a suspicion now, yeah.
I don't think Neshek knew about this badge, so the second you bring that up, Captain, her eyes are bugging out of her fucking head.
Same. Like, Apricity doesn't necessarily 100% get the full scope of it, but like this lady has been sus since the second she stepped on the station.
West is just glad he's not the only one out of the loop this time.
Everyone in unison just goes, "Oh wait, what?"
A lot of characters just left. I'm just sorry, guys.
Okay. But she's looking over this. So you had your suspicions. Now answer this question, all of you, in your own way and as honest as possible, because if there is any roundabout way to answer this, I will not take this very well. When did you have any of these suspicions? Were they prior to my arrival? And if so, were they based upon days, weeks, or months?
Honestly, it was kind of suspicious that she was showing up before she even showed up.
I don't have to not announce. Like, we had no idea she was coming. It wasn't on the manifest or nothing. She just popped up.
She arrived with the Ares.
The Ares. The particular vessel that caused an issue in its crew with the Gamma Ops?
Yes, the Inheritor cell that was infiltrated Gamma Ops.
She, like, pinches the bridge of her nose.
Admiral, if I may add on, I had my suspicions about the Vice President, again, also from the day of her arrival. And Neshek will look at the captain, like, kind of apologetically. I have been monitoring her in my own way since, including accessing the message she sent to the captain of the ship that Pride was on. I, however, have yet to find any hard evidence tying her to the suspicious activity. Well, not suspicious, to the instance surrounding Horizon Station. Everything makes her look suspicious, but I have yet to find any actual evidence of her involvement. Whether it be the phage or this bombing or the incident with the training run of Aleska and West, given that was suggested by her, wasn't she? Well, not the run itself, but the destination.
Yes.
All of the evidence is circumstantial. It has been nothing concrete that we could bring and justify, well, such an aggressive and potentially catastrophic move.
But you all had your suspicions.
Correct.
Did any of you inform Admiral Dax as to your suspicions?
to be honest, Vice Admiral, if we don't know if the Vice Admiral, the Vice President would have a way to hijack and listen to the communications if we sent anything to Admiral Dex or be intercepted, so we kept her in
Neshek will actually suddenly look very drawn as she realizes the only person she told about her suspicions of the Vice President was Liaison Pride.
The thing is, Admiral, if it's a person like the Vice President, you have to be very, very sure of your evidence. I've been in politics enough to know that, at least.
It's not like she didn't flaunt her ability to get into systems that the rest of us weren't able to access by, accessing the security tapes on the bombing and the ambassadors. That was the tape she unlocked, right?
Yeah.
Which is one of the circumstantial pieces of evidence against her, honestly. But
yeah.
If all of you have your intelligence and your suspicions on the Vice President, as of this moment, I am ordering all of you, despite what I assume to be a counter order to not publicly investigate any sort of the incident or anything of the like or anything related. As of this moment, you are all ordered to act upon your suspicions. Any leads you may follow, you will bring to me. Any sort of administrative blocks that you may encounter, make me aware of them. And if, for some reason, the Vice President threatens your commission for digging deeper or anything of the like, well, at that point you'll have to make a choice. Starfleet or take a knee.
I have taken a knee before, and I will not do so again.
Good.
At this point, I am too invested in Starfleet.
Lieutenant Commander Neshek, you had something to say.
I was going to suggest I am not sure of an administrative block you could help me with, but there might actually be a physical one you could. If possible, could you get the Vice President out of her office for a few hours?
I am on station, and I do have to at least connect with the civilian authorities, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue. A few hours is a bit much of an ask, but an hour or two is...
As much time as possible.
I understand what is being asked and the risks that are involved. However, I don't appreciate the being forced to sit on your hands. In addition to that, I'd rather take care of the problem internally before we deal with any external problems. And if we're lucky, we can avoid going to any sort of open conflict.
Understood, Admiral.
May I have my data pad back?
Slides it back.
I have several lines of inquiry to follow.
Yes, you do. As well as... I have a couple lines. Once the privacy filter is over, Captain Phillips, I would like to see that comm badge. have any questions for myself?
No, but I would like to remain in the ready room briefly with the almost said Lieutenant Corporal again, with the Lance Corporal and the Captain.
So he will look. Yeah, what the Neshek is everything okay?
Yes, but the plan I wish to enact requires the assistance of both of you and also some forewarning. I want to steal the Vice President's entire computer. However, in order to do that, I need to be able to confiscate it for reasons she cannot say no to. So I would like to fake another bombing on the station, but this one in the Vice President's office.
Vice Admiral Christine Vale looks like you just shot her in the face.
The captain has the same look on his face.
Commander,
What?
we can certainly get the contents of the database without having to do a bombing.
Not within the time frame that we have her out of the office. If we can only get her out of the office for 1 or 2 hours, with the amount of data on her computer and with the encryption it's in, that won't be enough time. Even the orders I retrieved from the sabotage of Pride's vessel is going to take me enough time to decrypt.
Let me handle the authorization, Lieutenant Commander.
It's not a matter of authorization. These are not files we would have authorization for.
As I said, I can handle the Vice President's authorization code.
I think it's authorization that's the problem. It's encryption, yes?
Correct. I need time in order to crack it, and I cannot simply just... If I was to try to copy it physically over the network, surely that would trip even my own sensors, and as well as people on this... There are multiple people who are monitoring our network on this station. It's not just me. Any one of them could tell that I am copying the data over and alert the Vice President. I need physical access to her computer for sufficient time to copy all the data from it or set up another network portal or something to that effect. And to do that, I need to basically completely bar her from her office. It doesn't have to be a bomb. It could be a gas leak or renovation, something to keep her out of there. I thought of a bomb threat because, 1, we just had one. 2, she cannot publicly, given how it puts her on the back foot because of the diplomacy involved. She has to acquiesce to us doing anything possible to contain the bomb threat in order to maintain the illusion that we are still on top of it. And it has the side benefit of going against this narrative she's trying to push that everything's done and under control. And lastly, it partially proves that Lieutenant Pride was not the sole perpetrator. Well, or at least casts illusion on that story. It does not have to be a functional bomb nor a large bomb, but it needs to be a believable bomb.
There is a distinctive amount of time where Vice Admiral Christine Vale is thinking on this ridiculous idea that you've come up with and seeing that it's actually not so terribly illogical in that sense.
What if I just tell them they've all been exposed to some rare virus and need to be quarantined for like 6 hours? I can run tests. It would also give me the chance to,
Well, you mentioned...
Yeah, it would also give me the chance to just annoy her for a couple hours.
You mentioned that there was oddities in the injuries reported, yes? Could you not say that there were oddities in the bomb injuries reported, yes? Could you not say that you fear for a possible biological component? That'd give you the license to detain everybody who went in and out of that area.
And how many intelligence officers went in and out of that area? If I can bring that
no
up.
intelligence officers. It was just because it's a civilian quarter. It was just like secretaries, like that type of stuff. But overall, there would be within that specific area, there would have been around 37.
But enough people were feasibly in contact with her that I could call a quarantine on her.
Oh yeah.
For that reason,
Oh, yeah.
it wouldn't be completely
100%,
impossible.
Yeah.
Okay.
You might get
Then,
some resistance, but given what Neshek has just said, she can't really say no.
Resistance is futile.
Just if we want to go with that instead of bombing their office.
That is a suitable revision to my admittedly excessive plan.
I do like the idea though, the computer idea.
Neshek, how good are you at making fake isolenia chips? Because we might be able to just pull those from her computer.
How good am I at making fake isoliner chips? I don't know if I'm good at computer engineering so much as computer networking.
You actually would probably be somewhat decently proficient in it. Now, the dangerous thing with this is what you would have to do is you would have to replicate one. Now, replicating a isoliner chip, not hard. Replicating the exact one, very difficult. Replicating one that is very close and covers most of everything, but might be missing a couple parts, still pretty difficult. But there is a chance you can do it.
And we have a lot of momentum to spend.
West raises his hand.
That's Corporal.
What if we combine the two ideas?
How so?
We get an explosive that doesn't necessarily release an explosive, but a time-released pathogen. That way it allows the doctor to have the authority to pull and isolate the vice president, and then the supposed decon team would go in there to clean out and investigate while taking a look at her computer.
Assuming we can limit the spread to just a few people, that would be...
There are ways to do that.
I need to go synthesize something.
Doesn't have to be anything super severe, just something enough where it would require
Just
a
symptoms.
check.
Apricity does look really uncomfortable with this suggestion, though.
If it goes against any sort of medical ethics, then I would retract this statement, Doctor.
It's definitely on the border, but as long as I can pull people's medical files so that I can make sure that nobody will have an unexpected reaction. And Apricity's just lost in their head now.
Lieutenant Commander Neshek and Notasky, you both have my authority to get that operation underway.
Understood, Admiral.
Get moving. That is not what was said.
Yo, but it was underlined. It was underlined.
You're far away again.
It was hinted.
I don't even know what you said.
Technically, she did not say the authority to bomb the vice president. Just, gas them.
No, it's still the same. Are you on your phone or using like a laptop mic or?
I'm using the headset on my laptop.
What?
Do you have a virtual audio cable or something?
Was he the one that accidentally was connected to his Xbox mic the first time? Because I'm wondering if it's a situation like that again.
Yeah, we'll probably have to do audio.
Well, if Discord did update, sometimes it switches around your default, so it could be trying to default to a laptop mic.
Yeah, look in the voice settings in Discord really quick.
I just did an audio test. Everything's fine.
Now we can hear you.
Normal now.
Okay.
Because I had to quit Discord itself and then reboot it back up again.
Okay, yeah. Could have been the update then.
But anyway, as I was saying, it was not exactly implied, but
yeah.
You know what I'm getting at.
Well, two of your senior staff get on that plan. Apricity, are you working on the effectively the biological weapon?
Yes. It's basically just gonna be like the common cold.
Okay.
Wait, no, bad example. I want something a little bit less infectious. The common cold, but non-infectious.
You give everybody in Horizon a hay fever.
Yeah, I'm basically just trying to create symptoms.
Okay. Yeah, okay, that's easy enough to be done.
Enough mildly annoying to semi-worrying symptoms that they don't find it weird to be sitting in an office for, a couple hours.
Okay. As that is all being done, Lance Corporal West, you are freed from whatever awkward situation you were unfortunately put into.
I thought I was staying behind for a conversation.
Oh, you're right.
It was.
Well, the conversation was the bomb plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and all senior staff stay for that one, including you.
Okay. But yeah, given all of that, Admiral Vale, once the privacy filters go down, and you, Captain Phillips. Alright. Let's go see that comm badge.
Yep. So me and the Admiral walk to my office. I will pull out a secret drawer where I kept it, and I will hand it to the Admiral. Here you go. One pristine, well, almost pristine. I think she took the battery out. Section 31 com badge.
Well, color me impressed.
Yeah, she told me it was an act of trust, but my gut was telling me otherwise. That her rival was setting up something really, really dangerous to all Starfleet.
Captain, I'm going to be incredibly blunt with you. Given recent performance and actions through Admiral Dax as well as Starfleet Command, and in addition, part of the Federation Executive Horizon Station as far as operating and crisis response has been, to be perfectly blunt, subpar. That's why I'm out here. Now I understand you being in charge of a station of 350,000 people is a stressor. I am aware of that. However, despite my directness upon arrival, in the future, I will do you a great favor in telling you whatever issues or potential hot-headedness you might have. With me, you better turn it down.
As you wish, Admiral.
Well then, as long as we have that out of the way, let's hope this plan doesn't erupt into an absolute catastrophe. As you go, to probably take your seat at the ready room, as she exits, she stops for a moment like she had something to add, but decided against it and walks out. Apricity, you were working on a biological agent, having finished that, we're going to cut here to the whole biological agent has been released to where it needs to be. Quarantine is now in effect. I do need one of you to replicate that isolinear chip.
Alright, what is... I mean, is there anybody who is way better at engineering than I am?
I have an engineering of 3.
I have an engineering of 4.
I've also got engineering 4.
Sorry, your faithful captain has an engineering of 2, so he's no good in this situation.
I mean, hell, West, if you're not doing anything else, you want to try to work together on this thing? I don't know how good you are with computers.
Computers, not exactly my area of expertise.
I have an engineering of 3. Sorry, I just had a hard time bringing up my character sheet.
Well, at the time we'd be trying to replicate the isolinear chip. Oh no, we'd have to get our computer before we could replicate the chip in it, so never mind. It wouldn't be at the same time you're making the bioweapon.
I also have a whole bunch of things improving my reason if it's a reason check.
True. Can you do that while notionally... Can you help Neshek while notionally checking out everybody in medbay?
Yeah, Apricity.
Yeah, that's why I have... Yeah.
Right, you're a robot.
I am a robot. I can be in 3 places at once. I can also be gossiping with the Tholians right now, and nobody would be any the wiser.
Having 3 separate conversations as a singular person.
Let's try to not intrude too much on your gossip gang and isoliniate this chip real quick, or replicate this isolinear chip real quick.
Okay.
Alright. What do we need here?
This is going to be a control engineering. This will be a difficulty of 5.
We have spare momentum.
I will
we
be
should have-
spending 5 points of threat for this.
So we should have 9 momentum, I think. Because we started with 3. Aleska used 1, so that put us to 2.
All 3 of us can do this, right? I'm not, excluding West by saying I can also help?
No, all 3 of us should be able to do it.
Yeah.
Okay,
we
sweet.
can all do it. People
I'd imagine-
assisting.
Yeah.
Just roll once though.
Hey.
So control engineering, I have... I don't know if any of my focuses apply here. Pattern recognition, if I'm trying to replicate something. Cryptography, not really. It's not specifically a networking thing.
No.
Okay. Then I'm just left with my old reliables, computer and technical expertise.
Got it.
I believe assists roll first.
Yes. 1 die.
I rolled a 12, which is a pass by 1.
Okay.
5 from West.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay, that's 2 so far.
Alright, 2 so far. I get 3d20
Buy dice.
base. I will buy 2 additional die by spending 3 of our momentum.
Sounds good.
And then because of technical expertise, I'll be able to re-roll 1 of these.
Sounds good.
Oh, I'm going to go ahead and re-roll that 18.
Sounds good.
Nice.
Oh my god.
Did we just do that with no complications?
Correct.
Yes, we did.
Holy fuck, good job, gang.
Alright.
Just the 3 of us huddled over a replicator with a soldering gun, just very, very carefully.
No, don't cross those wires. If you cross those wires, it's gonna blow up in our face. Please, like this.
Remember, I'm not physically there. I'm just a very, very insistent backseat driver right now.
It blew up in the face. How unfortunate.
Corporal, I will trust you for what will cause this to blow up and what will not. I will just hold this very still.
Okay. that whole task is done. That being said, the replicating of the isolinear chip has been completed. There is one more leg of this journey here, which is you do have to go into the Vice President's office and physically put it in. How do you want to go about this?
Oh, the air system.
I'm
not even in her office.
Neshek's gonna be down for that, and this has not come up before, but Neshek has a focus in physical infiltration, so this is probably gonna be a weird volunteer.
What?
Yeah. Okay. Are you going with someone else, or are you just soloing this? Because I need to know, like, who's where.
Well, Apricity is not available physically. I guess West, if you wanna... Are you good at sneaking into places? You were pretty good in the prison. I remember that.
Aleska is also good at sneaking. So she will accompany Neshek.
Wes is just gonna look at him confused.
I guess
I never had to sneak anywhere in prison.
That's on me for making assumptions then. Perhaps then, if you keep an eye on the outside and let us know, while Lieutenant Commander and I do the actual infiltration.
Perhaps if we could have official orders drawn up by security to have me stationed in the area.
That would be
might add to the legitimacy of this.
Aleska, it's not hard for you to do that.
Yeah.
Alright. With Lance Corporal West kind of put there.
I will say, because Neshek would think about this, part of this is going to be Neshek intentionally kind of sabotaging her own cameras in this area, so we don't get caught by those.
And it probably causes her a bit of physical pain to have to do that.
Yeah. I don't know about any secret cameras these people may have, but at least we're not going to get caught by our own security people, which would just be embarrassing.
Yeah. And before we go, Aleska will return to her quarters and retrieve something from her personal quarters, and then come back and proceed to help Neshek infiltrate the Vice President's office.
Okay. Currently, the Vice President, as well as 36 other members of the civilian quarter on Deck 13, are being harassed by Apricity. So, sneaking in? Well, not even sneaking, just like getting in is not that difficult. However, the computer itself is very 25th century. Smaller, it's more meant for ease of access and being compact.
And Aleska will take a look around the office and see if she can't find any hidden cameras.
Make a insight security check, difficulty 3.
Insight is 9, security is 5. I'm going to buy an extra die because we have the momentum to do so.
Okay, sounds good. At 5.
How much momentum did we get from the last roll?
Oh, right. Hold on.
It was difficulty 5. You both succeeded, so it was 2, and then I got 5 successes, so 7. So we got a 2, so we have 8. momentum prior to Aleska spending any.
So 7.
So I rolled one of my Star Trek dice, and the Starfleet symbols,
The Delta.
yeah, showed up.
Okay.
And I got a 14 and a 1.
All right. Well, that's what you needed. There is a security camera of sorts. It's hard to spot because it's not exactly just like posted up somewhere. It's actually kind of hidden behind the wall itself. Is just looked a little bit closer than a building of a room of this dimension. You can kind of feeling around. Your hand actually goes through the wall a little bit, about maybe 3 inches. Just like a holographic screen.
And does she pull out the camera?
Yeah.
And she will reach down and unzip one of her pockets and pull out what looks to Neshek to be a pen device.
Oh, okay. Yep.
You know what I'm talking about,
Yes,
right?
I am. Yep, I'm aware.
And I go to Neshek, you did not see me use this. And she goes to work on the camera to erase the footage of us entering the office and putting on a loop of making it appear that the office is empty when we're actually in it.
Okay.
And you see that at the top of the pen, 2 little prongs come out and then start to glow as she works on the camera.
Alright. Well, Aleska is busy doing that. Neshek, are you going around looking, like, trying to switch out on the computer?
Yeah, that is a weird thing, though. I take it I don't recognize that as part of like a normal infiltration kit.
No, this is not
Okay,
Federation
that's fucking
standard.
No, Neshek will file that for weird Aleska things, like living forever, apparently. Another thing to Wikipedia search at night, and start trying to crack open this laptop.
Okay. The computer itself, it's kind of like a personalized computer core, so it's kind of like its own computer tower, as it were. But like off to the side of the desk, like opening it up, you were hit with a surprising dull cast dark, like sphere of like dull light.
Dull light.
It's an interesting shape. It's cracked and it definitely holds a feeling of malevolence to it.
You say cracked. Does it at all cracked in the sense of like it's just an orb and there are cracks in it, or in the sense that there are missing pieces from it?
Little both.
How big was that bit that Lance Corporal West pulled out of the wall?
Fits about the same size. It was one of the open spaces.
Lieutenant Commander.
Have I finished with the camera?
Yeah.
I will go over to where Neshek is. What is it?
We'll
You
point at the orb.
You see a very familiar orb, Aleska.
And I stare at it, and my mind is going a million thoughts a minute. How big is it?
A little bit bigger than a softball, probably.
Would I be able to pocket it?
Yes, it would be kind of awkward, but yeah.
I'm gonna scan this thing with the servo and see what it tells me.
Neshek will whisper that, she saw this on the security footage and that it, just based off the cracking and general material, it lines up with what Lance Corporal pulled out of the wall.
And I have also seen this in a vision.
Neshek will 100% give you a look like you have visions now.
The servo actually tells you the exact same thing that you're getting. Every answer that you're looking into this thing, it's very similar to an orb. But it's not. It's incredibly frustrating that this is the answer you're getting, because it's been the answer you've been getting all the fucking time now.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all you can get off of it.
Q, I think we found your item.
There's a brief pause before there is a flash behind you. Well, you certainly know how to get one's attention.
Well, when there's an unidentified object like this...
Ooh, yeah, that is a nasty piece of work.
Is it a corrupted orb?
Depends on who you're asking, but let's go with yes.
Well, I was going to be subtle about this. Computer, this is Lieutenant Commander Aleska Notasky. Lock down this section. Level 12 force fields.
They immediately go up. I will say this, though. When you do that, you will attract attention.
Well, considering what is in front of me, I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Sounds good. Okay. They go up. With this force field, you have access. You are trapped in here with this thing, and no one else can really hear from the outside. You can't hear from the outside, they can't hear in.
I'm going to pull Sam to death. She's going to touch the orb.
With a compulsion, just honestly out of human nature, just curiosity. It is the damning quality of any creature when there is danger afoot. There is for you, Neshek, even for Q, there is a
lots happened.
aggressive, bright, blue-red flash. And for, Lance Corporal West, you will be able to at least see this occur. I'm so happy you touched this.
I'm sorry, I had to pull a Sam.
Lance Corporal West, you were able to see this occur, just the bright flash. However, this bright, like, malicious red flash, Q, Neshek, Aleska, this flash hits you, and you are thrown backwards, like a shockwave exploding outwards, and, you have just an instant to see, like, and feel this almost slight out-of-body experience before, the room itself, where Q, Neshek, and Aleska were, is now empty. The orb is now vacant and gone. Lance Corporal West, purely out of instinct, you find yourself running to this force field where people were. where your members of your team or staff were, and it is completely empty.
The device is not there, is it?
The device is not there. And that...
Would I have at least been able to grab the laptop?
You have access to the laptop. You're just gone.
Okay.
However,
I'm just gone physically.
Yes, you were gone physically. So, Neshek, Aleska, Q, laptop, orb, all gone. Let's go for West is staring in at it. What should not be an empty, vacant room whatsoever. There is definitely bits of bulkhead and frayed areas where a blast has occurred. However, the crew members are not to be found.
I will hit my comm badge. Security to the bridge. Security alert. Vice President's office. An explosion has just occurred. Lock down the deck.
And that is where we'll end Season 1.